Hey guys, what's up? This is Casey, and
Coach Tom.
this is Shot Science Overtime number 160. I totally forgot to introduce you last week, and I saw it, and I felt super embarrassed about it.
It
But
didn't bother me. I didn't catch it either.
well, I introduced myself, and then I just went right into it.
All right.
But what we're doing here today is Shot Science Overtime number 160, and this is our live show where we try to answer our questions for you guys on anything basketball related, whether that's shooting, passing, dribbling, defense, how to talk to your coach, conditioning, whatever it may be. We want you guys to start sending those questions to us so that when we're done talking about our topic that we pick, that we think is going to help you guys be better basketball players, we'll have some questions to dive into to help you guys.
Right.
And it's good to get in early, send them early, because by the end, we've got so many questions that it's hard to get to everybody. So please send those questions now. Tell your friends and family to join. Follow us on all of our social media, such and such. We are Shot Science and everything. Google, Plus, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, different things in different places. Come talk to us because we love to have you guys around. And keep in mind that if you're not into a longer show where we talk to you guys one-on-one, then maybe this isn't for you. Go check out one of our tutorials. That's totally okay.
Yeah.
If this is not for you. But we're glad that you guys are here. Say what's up to us in the comments, and we'll get to you guys in just a few. And let's jump into our topic. Our topic for today is when to take a long shot, or when is it okay to take a long shot?
Yeah, that's really an interesting question, and probably what we might do is take a look at it from the other side. When is it not a good idea to take a long shot?
Yep.
Okay, and some things come into play that are really important. First of all, the thing that you have to think about is how deep into the shot clock are you and how long is that shot? You know, once in a while I'll see people who are, well, not once in a while, more often than I would think. I see players pull up and they're at 22 feet, 23 feet. These are high school players, and they think they're open because they're not defended immediately, and so they jack a shot up.
Yeah, I think there's actually two kind of scenarios for this.
Okay.
One is that they might see that that topic and they might say, I don't know when to shoot the long shot and I'm panicked.
Yeah.
So what do I do? When do I do it? That's one type of person.
Yeah.
The other type of person is the person that is just, they have no care in the world. They are launching that thing because that is what they want to do.
Yeah,
So-
and that's really a kind of an ego thing in my book, and what we call selfish shooting.
Yep.
You put balls up there that are not high percentage shots, and as a result, usually it's going to be a rebound for the other team. Defensive rebounding usually is going to take care of that, and you don't have much in the way of follow-up. So we think that probably the best thing to do is don't take a long shot like that early in the clock. Because people are not really set on offense yet. They're not really set on defense yet.
You haven't really created any opportunities either.
Exactly. And we've talked about this in the past. I think we even mentioned it last week, is the fact that oftentimes you'll find when you look at breakdowns, in fact, I've seen studies on this, when you take and do breakdowns on early shots in the shot clock, your percentage is somewhere around 18 or 19%. That's a very low percentage. And then as you move the ball from side to side, player to player, and make the defense move and adjust, those shots, even the same shot, might be as high as 35% just because you've moved the ball, made the defense take and react to it, and you're a little deeper in the clock.
Well,
one of the things that
okay, go ahead.
happens is that coaches don't want you to shoot the ball early in the clock unless it is a layup and you're pretty sure you're going to be able to get there and get it or get fouled. And so they're not looking for you to jack up those shots from behind the three-point line early in the clock.
Well, there are some like special scenarios and players that are allowed to do that kind of stuff, but typically that's not a thing that really happens too much in the lower levels of basketball, where you're a Curry and you can pull up on the break for a three.
Yeah, not many Currys in high school that you could say, okay, go get them.
I've seen that a few times, and usually that's a real quick trip back to the bench.
Yeah, right.
But that brings up kind of the ball movement thing really brings up kind of one of the other topics of all this is taking contested shots.
Right.
And when you come down and you just take a shot right away in the shot clock, you probably are going to be contested because you haven't really done any work to get any space and create space. And so when you're kind of moving the ball, creating opportunities for yourself, but also for your other teammates, you'll find that those higher percentage shots will pop up more often than not.
They will. And most teams that are playing man defense will pick you up somewhere around the midcourt line. And in transition, they want to be there so they can get an early stop on you on penetration. And so usually you're not going to have those really wide open shots unless the team is running back and jumping into that the zone defense. Then there may not be anybody there for that long shot. But that doesn't make it okay in my book.
And all great shooters and really any basketball player should want to take those uncontested shots. Yeah. When I hear people say that they love taking shots with people in their face, I'm like, you are ridiculous, because that instantly chops your shooting percentage basically in half, especially if you're that deep. Yeah. And you want to be taking open shots with nobody there.
Yeah.
And I can guarantee you, if you ask Steph Curry or Klay Thompson or fill in the blank person, they want to take shots with nobody in their face because they know that those shots are higher percentage.
Well, yeah, they are. And the other thing that happens too is that sometimes in the coach's plan, they don't want you to shoot an early shot like that. And this is something we've talked about recently too, is the fact that they want to get into your offense. Even the early offense, they want to get into the offense and move people around to maybe get a good look in the first 10 or 15 seconds, but they're not going to jack one up just because it's only 15 seconds into the clock.
And the strategy there, too, is that good coaches are not just making you do that for busy work.
Exactly right. They're trying to get you to move the basketball and use your offensive motion or movement to get defensive players maybe who are a little slack in their defense to get caught in an off position where it'll give you a really good shot.
Well, we always kind of talk about being in control and putting the other team in recovery mode.
Yep.
And that is really what ball movement does.
Yep.
And if you're able to put them into recovery mode, they're going to be at least a step behind you and trying to catch up to whatever you're doing. So you're going to be able to have those shot opportunities pop up. So the key of all this is creating opportunities, and that's when it's okay to take those long shots.
Yeah.
Is when the opportunities have presented themselves, and that is the shot that you want to take.
Right. And the other thing that's really important here is the coaches have a choreography of plays that they want you to run. Sometimes it's early offense, and maybe you get a look there, maybe you don't. But then as they get further into the offense and you start developing maybe a motion offense, a screen and roll offense, that's going to take a little bit more time, and coaches want you to do that. And so early shots really kind of tick them off because you haven't really gotten into what they want you to do, and that's the coach's plan. And usually they share that with you in the pre-game situation or pre-practice the day or so before. This is how we're going to do this, and this is what we're looking for right here. And so if you deviate from that, from the coach's plan, he may find some time for you to sit down on the bench with him.
Yeah, you won't have to be running too much after that.
Right.
A couple people in here are saying, like Joseph Ivey and Joseph Witchard are saying stuff about J.R. Smith and saying he'll shoot with 24 seconds on the clock. Yeah. Well, I mean, he has a reputation for not making the smartest moves when it comes out there on the court.
Right, and as I remember about him is sometimes he shoots lights out. Other times he couldn't hit a bull in the butt with a scoop shovel. He's just not accurate at all. And so what happens then is that his team pays the price, because that's usually going to be a defensive rebound, and here we go, the other way.
Yeah, and you don't want your coach to look at you the way that a lot of people look at J.R. Smith. I can guarantee you that.
Yeah.
I mean, he does make incredible plays,
He
does do some really great things, but one of the things that he doesn't always do is take smart shooting opportunities.
Shot judgment is probably one of the keys to being a really good basketball player. Somebody else have a better look than I have, I want to give them the basketball. Somebody else that is maybe cutting the basket and I give them the ball on the dribble, it's an easy layup, I want to give them the basketball. So the thing that's important there is just understanding what is a good shot. Has somebody else got a better shot? Can I create something for one of my teammates rather than just jacking it up from 22 feet?
Yeah, so that's basically the summation of all that stuff.
Yeah, right.
So when it's okay to take a long shot or when to take a long shot is when all of those things are kind of in place.
Yeah.
So, it's really the best opportunity for you and your teammates. Maybe the clock is getting to the point where a shot needs to be taken, and your teammates aren't in a better spot to get the basket or get the kind of conversion on the possession.
You mentioned something there I think is really an important issue, and that is when the clock is running down and you haven't shot the ball or one of your teammates hasn't shot the ball yet. Do we take a panic shot there, or what do we do? And the one thing that I think is that we're going to maybe take a quicker shot and just to see if we can get it, but we don't want to take one where we're slinging that thing from 25 feet either, because that's going to be probably a turnover on the rebound and quick turn down the court. So just quick panic shots aren't such a good idea.
Yeah, and typically you're not going to be, the strategy is not going to be, let's get it down to the last 2 seconds and then make a decision.
Exactly. And something else that happens too is that when we take those panic shots, usually we have very poor defensive recovery. What about if you took a time violation? Okay, so you took the time violation, you lose that particular possession, it's a turnover, but they have to go to the sideline and throw the ball in. Okay, and so while that's all happening, you and your teammates are getting back and setting up your defense for them to come down and try to get a score on you.
Yeah, and
gives you time to collect on defense.
And that's like a best case scenario of a worst case scenario.
Yeah, right.
So that's never the strategy, just to run everything down to the bottom. Yeah. You're doing this ball movement and not forcing early in the shot clock to create opportunities that should show up sometime a little bit down the road.
Yeah, one of the things that you'll find in situations in pro basketball, college basketball, high school basketball, is the shot is running down and it's getting close to running out. And sometimes what teams will do, they'll do that on purpose because they don't want to have a rebound that can go to the other end. Mm-hmm. So they'll run it down to 7 or 8 seconds, and then they'll look to get the shot. That's kind of late in the shot clock, trying to find yourself a decent shot. And so the tip, I don't agree with 10 seconds. I think you should take and go a little bit sooner so that you can create or help create a shot that is going to give you plenty of time to get the ball in and maybe rebound and put it back up.
Here's another thing too that we didn't talk about earlier, but you want to shoot shots within your range too. Yeah. A lot of times people come down and they can hit some shots from close in, but then they're taking 26-foot shots, and it's like, well, that's not something that you even have a history of making. So why are you taking that shot? Right. There's not a good chance that that's going to go in, and that's not a good shot, and that's definitely a time not to take that long shot. Yeah, really. So if you don't have the range to take that shot, you shouldn't be taking it, because you're essentially taking an opportunity that could have been converted on a better opportunity.
Maybe somebody else got a better look.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so do we think that that's pretty good on that?
Should do it, yeah.
If you guys have more questions about when it's a good idea to take a long shot or when to take a long shot, let us know and we'll get more into depth on that. But those are like the real kind of overarching main things. And, hopefully that'll help you and kind of get out of that panic mode, or if you're that crazy guy that comes down and just blasts one from 30 feet in the first 10 seconds of the clock, maybe that'll make you rethink that a little bit. So thank you for that. You guys have been sending us questions the whole time. We were talking. We thank you. Keep sending those questions in, and it can be anything basketball related: shooting, passing, dribbling, defense, how to talk to your coach, training for athleticism and jumping and all that stuff. Send them our way and we'll do our best to answer those. Before we get into that, though, we have our question of the week, which we ask every time we meet you guys, and that is this:
where are you from?
Yep. We want to know where in the world you guys are. Apparently Team Shot Science is all over the globe, and we appreciate you guys telling everybody to join the team. And we are here in Santa Cruz, California, which is south of San Francisco on the coast, and we want to know where you guys are. And we're going to shout a few of you guys out, and just let us know, because we like to see where you guys are, whether it's Lithuania or Japan or Greece. Yeah. That's Andrew Ivang, who's from Greece. So let us know where you guys are from. Oh, we're getting people in already. We have Dar Thal or Tho from Maryland. Seth is from Buffalo, New York. Cameron Colvin is from Georgia. Let's see here. John Paul Bicola is from Baton Rouge. Anthony Herbert is from Illinois. A lot of people from the U.S. today. Yeah. Joseph Wichard is from St. Petersburg, Florida. I think he was here last week too. Cool. Well, we'll keep getting those as you guys send them in, and we're going to answer some questions now. Let's get into the questions. Whoa, got to scroll up for those. Isaac Sundling is asking how to dribble past full court press.
Well, that's really an interesting question. In my book, you kind of have to look at what kind of a press is it.
Yep.
If it is a zone press, the idea is they're going to try and force you into an area of the court where they can double team you. And so the approach that we take is this. You divide the court longitudinally. I guess that's long, is that right?
Yeah.
Use of words. And we divide it into 3 sections. And usually we'll take and refer to the middle section as being the lane lines that go from end to end. And then from the lane lines out to the sideline, those are the sideline areas that we want to avoid, because that's typically where they want to trap you, is along the sideline. Mm-hmm. And so when we get keep the ball in the middle, they'll still try to trap us, but we take this approach. We're going to take and attack one of the defenders who's trying to trap us, and that defender is going to be the one that is to the inside of the court. In other words, he's toward the middle of the court, and we're going to go get him strong. And so what happens there is he's going to have to defend you strong in a one-on-one, and the other player now is nullified. He becomes a chaser. And so you drive him really hard. You could actually step back and reset and attack the other way. But we try to diffuse the double team in a zone setup. And we also always tell our players, avoid the sidelines. Keep the ball in the middle of the court. It's harder for them to double team you, and it's also easier for you to have places to go with passes when they do come to double team you. Okay, so that's important. Man to man, they're going to have you somebody on you full court, and they're trying to force you to the sideline where they can use it to their advantage. And the thing that we like is keep it in the middle, and work them. Their coaches are telling them this: turn them. Okay, and a lot of you have heard that before. And what they want to do is they want to take and turn you to the right, and then they want to turn you back to the left, and just turn, hoping that they can get maybe a hand on a crossover or whatnot. It's one of the reasons that we spend a lot of time working on scissor dribble, which is through the legs, and the flat back dribble, which is very explosive dribble behind the back, just so that we can protect the ball from that. But still keep the ball in the middle of the floor.
Yeah, and typically when they're running that kind of press, they're going to try to trap you and run 2 guys at you. If that happens, what we always tell the players to do is to pick one of those defenders and go directly at them.
Go get him. Yeah.
Because if you're just sitting back and waiting, those 2 guys are going to collapse on you, and it's going to be a nightmare.
Well, there's another nightmare in that whole scenario too, and here it is. You pick up your dribble because you're threatened.
Yeah.
Okay, and
Panic.
as soon as you pick up the dribble, they're going to be on you. And so if you keep your dribble alive, you can retreat from them. You can go one to the right and go to the left. So keep your dribble alive. Don't panic and pick up the basketball.
Yeah, I mean it's like cowboys when they're trying to, what are they cutting?
Herding cattle.
When they're herding cattle, but they're like cutting one of them out or whatever.
Yep,
so they
yep.
pick one and they get that one out of the way, and then you can deal with the other one later.
Yeah.
But if you just sit back and wait, or you try to split the difference, you got to deal with 2 people. You don't want to do that. Deal with one person.
Yeah, truly.
Do we talk about the zone? How to attack the zone?
On zone, the thing that they're going to try and do there on the zone is they're going to take and try and get you to throw passes usually to the sideline, and then they will take and go trap you there with 2 people to the sideline. Important, and your coach probably will have you coached up on this pretty good, is that you always want somebody in the middle. So if they're not going to be able to guard the middle and the outside equally well, and so you can fake that pass to the outside, throw it to the middle. When the ball is in the middle of the defense, you guys are in control.
Yeah.
You're in control.
Okay, this one is from Tay Williams.
And let me go back and just say this. When you're working against a zone press, it's the same as when you're working against a zone in the forecourt, and that is ball movement is really, really important. Ball movement.
Cool. This one is from Tay Williams TV, who says, "Guys, I'm blessed. My head coach is Brandon Roy at Nathan Hale High School in Seattle, Washington." That's awesome.
That's cool. We're kind of familiar with the Seattle area.
Yeah, Suresh Prabhakaran says, "Hey guys, what's up, Suresh?" Let's see. Mark Diaz says, "Where can I find a basketball development / training camp if you are no longer in high school or college? Seems I can't find any programs for adults."
That's an interesting point, and I personally don't know of any that really kind of
camp situations is a little bit.
Well, yeah,
I've heard of like some super high end ones.
Well,
but
and they're more like training camps, and the pro players go to trainers all the time. And so oftentimes what you may have to do is find a personal trainer who can do that for you. We've done that in the past, and that works out pretty good. In fact, some of my favorite students have been guys who are 40, 45 years old because they really want to get better. And they'll spend time working on it getting better.
Yeah, and one of the things that you can do is be a little bit more proactive about it too, is that you can get a group of buddies together and you guys can hire one of those coaches.
Oh, yeah.
And if the price is right and the situation sounds good to them, they're usually going to be on board.
Yeah.
So, or you can put together a camp. I mean, that's another thing to do. It's a little bit easier to do that once you're an adult and the logistics are a little bit easier to figure out. But yeah, I mean, there's not really adult camps for development and things like that. I mean,
No.
I mean, if you're there, I've heard of like those super rich guys and they'll fly in some NBA guy, but that's not really what you're talking about. But yeah,
Well, that's more showtime. I don't think that
Yeah,
they're really going to spend time
that's
on
like-
helping you get better.
that's like a goosed up meet and greet.
Okay, so before we go away from that, all you need to do is contact me, and I'll help you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. This
And
one.
I'm not kidding when I say that either.
Andrew Evang says, I have a problem with my game when I play pickup games. I'm a really good player, but when I play in the official games with my team, I get really nervous and don't perform like I really can.
Why do you get nervous? I mean, we know the answer to that question, but when you're playing with your buddies, that's people you know and you play with regularly all the time, and so there's a comfort level that you have developed with that group. As soon as you play on a team where you're playing another team, maybe they're pretty good, you are playing in fear. And what I mean by that is you're afraid that you're going to screw up. And so therefore, you play more tentatively and not very aggressively because you don't want to do anything that might make you look bad or that the other guys might ridicule what you do or don't do. And so the thing that you need to do is let go of all that and just play.
Yep. I mean, a lot of people get caught up in I guess thinking that things go on their permanent record or something like that.
Right.
I can guarantee you that people aren't going to remember the fact that you accidentally kicked the ball out of bounds on a dribble attack, or that the guy stole the ball from you, or you got blocked. And we talk about it almost every week that if there's no risk, there's no reward.
Exactly.
And you just have to change your mentality. People like Michael Jordan and Steph Curry, they aren't sitting there worrying about all these ancillary things that are going on outside that they have no control on, like the people watching them and all that.
Well, and you see those guys make mistakes when they play, and
Yep.
they do. Every player in the world does that. And the thing that they can do is it's gone from memory almost immediately, and that they stay focused on what they need to get done. And that's what players do that are always kind of tentative and afraid I'm going to mess up. And hey, let go of it and just play. The game's meant to be enjoyable, and playing out of fear can't be enjoyable.
Yeah, I mean, you really have to do that, and then you have to get more experience playing in those situations too, because if you've only done it 2 or 3 times, then it's like, well, yeah, that's a little bit overwhelming. Yeah. So, change your mentality and get more experience.
Exactly.
This one is from Marco Rojas, who says, which exercises can I do to improve my defense?
There are several. Usually defense breaks down because of poor footwork.
Yep.
And you need to learn how to use your feet using slides to stay in front of the offensive player.
The step drag lateral movements.
Yeah, and we use that term step drag, and we're trying to encourage people that if I'm going to go to my left, I'm going to turn my left foot out, my toe out, and it's going to reach, and the other foot is then going to slide to it, but they never slide very close together. If these were my feet, when they get close together, then my body tends to stand up.
And your center of gravity goes up and down.
Exactly, and your speed of execution slows down too. But if you keep those feet a little wider apart, I can't get the right relationship here, then usually you do a lot better. Now, here's one of the keys on defense that I don't think is expressed really enough, and that is everybody in the world gets beat on defense. And I mean everybody. I was watching a little clip of Iverson just turning Michael Jordan inside out, using those crosses and changes and through their legs and all that, and then go by him and get for a layup. And so that happens to everybody. But one of the things that you have to remember is this: if they start to get ahead of you, then it's time for you to turn and run. No more shuffle step. It's time to turn and run and try to get to a point where you can reestablish your footwork again. But really, the whole thing has to be about how you use your feet. Don't let your feet come close together. Always step out and then drag the other foot toward where you're going. Why do you drag? You want to keep your feet close to the ground. As soon as you start picking your feet up and stepping, that takes longer. If you take little short drag steps, it's a little quicker.
Yeah, and so the footwork is super key. Working on things like agility is always great.
Oh, yeah.
Like agility dots and ladder drills and things like that are great.
Working on foot quickness is
Yeah.
kind of what he's talking about there too.
Yeah, so
Important.
So check out our video on Defense 101, and then you can also go look at the vertical jump videos, and we show different kind of agility work that you can do.
Right.
All right, more shout outs to Roronoa Levero from Wichita, Kansas. Eric Donia from Costa Rica. Ali Abukar Ali is from London.
How about right up there?
I don't know what that is. That's not a place. That's just somebody typing on their keyboard.
Okay. All right. London. There we are, London.
Yeah. Burison is from France. Sam Poor is from Indiana. Pasquale Mangano is from Italy. Victor Kosek is from Russia.
All right.
Wow, cool, you guys. Keep sending those in. Let's get back to some questions. Let's find them. This one is from Joseph Witchard, who says, when I get the defensive rebound, I'm scared to dribble the ball up the court. I just pass it and go up the court. Any advice?
Oh, yeah. This is kind of interesting that you talk about this, because this is something that we teach because we want to get the ball up the floor quick. I don't care if my big, and I don't know whether you're big or not, but that doesn't make any difference. When we take the ball off, we rip it down and we make a turn to the outside of the court, and we go at least 2 hard dribbles right away.
Yep.
When most teams, in fact, this is kind of the rhetoric of it all. I take the rebound, I turn to the outside, and I throw an outlet pass to a guard who is about free throw line extended toward the sideline. I don't like that because I want to get immediate pressure on the defense. And so when we rip a rebound down, whether it is a guard or a post or power forward or whatever, we immediately get north and south, and we're going. And we put the ball down a couple of times. We have our head up the floor. Instead of giving that ball to the outlet at the free throw line extended, we want to give it to him at or just beyond the midcourt line. Now, the other team is under pressure because they oftentimes don't get back very quickly, and we've beat them with 2 quick dribbles and 1 quick pass, and oftentimes we'll get in a situation where there's only 1 or maybe 2 guys back there, and we can really attack them.
Yeah,
now,
you call that what?
That's called a rip and go.
Bust out, right?
Yeah, bust out.
Bust out, rip and go.
Yeah, bust out, rip and go. Okay, now, I had another thought, Casey, that I don't know where it went.
Well,
okay. His question was he's afraid to do it, right?
Yeah,
afraid
I
to
think
dribble. Hey, don't be afraid. And if you're afraid to do that, practice it. I mean, how difficult is that? Go up and get that rebound and make that quick pivot to the outside of the court, and let's go. And don't be afraid to push that dribble out there and end up 10 or 12 feet deeper than you might be normally. That's going to make your team much more successful on the fast break.
Yeah, you can't be scared of that kind of stuff. It's just
no.
It does not help you in any way.
And what if you turn it over once in a while?
Big deal.
The world does not come apart if that happens.
Unless you make it that way.
Yeah.
Okay, this one is from Sam H. Cam, who says, do you have any tips for shooting guards?
You make your shots.
Yeah,
Okay, now that's being kind of sarcastic, but okay. One of the things that is really important is this. The whole idea of point guard and shooting guard and weak forward, power forward, all that, in today's game doesn't really play very well because most teams, you've got a guy who plays out front and maybe he's a point guard, but oftentimes they'll bring a bigger guy out there, and you'll see in the pros, you'll see Draymond Green out front, you'll see LeBron out front.
Anthony Davis.
Yeah, I mean,
Kevin Durant.
And so what really makes sense is that you worry about being maybe a guard or wing, but you don't worry about being a point guard. And shooting the basketball as a shooting guard is this. You should be spending time just working on your shot. And the second thing you need to do is work on faking that shot and getting to the basket. Okay? Shooting guard, for me, I hear that all the time while I play shooting guard, and this guy's in the 6th grade. What? I don't give them much grief over it, but guys who are in the 6th grade, they're not shooting the ball that well where they can be identified as a shooting guard. They're a guard, okay? And they should be able to play the point guard. They should be able to play the off guard. And then as far as shooting is all about repetition and making sure that you've got a solid shot with all of the elements being effective. Now, what are elements? That's all the mechanics that you use to shoot the basketball. Here's a little question that I see quite often that comes across our internet, and that is, hey, coach, I shoot really good at mid-range, but when I get to the three-point line, I can't make any shots. Well, I would be willing to guess that this is what happens, is that you develop that shot at the mid-range, which maybe is 15 or 16 feet, and then all of a sudden you drop back to 20 feet and you expect it all to be okay. We don't have enough power. We haven't shot very many shots from there, and so we're not very effective. So you just need to make time for getting better with the shooting. And that's just for every player, not just a so-called shooting guard.
Yeah, well, here's the thing, is that people get so caught up in positions and how to label themselves. That is such a waste of time, and it's a great way to really pigeonhole and limit yourself if that's what you're doing.
Yep.
If you are starting to apply shooting guard to you, or you're a power forward or whatever, sometimes people do that, and then they're like, oh, okay, well, I guess I don't have to worry about working on my post game, or I don't have to worry about working on making my free throws or whatever. That's garbage. You need to erase all of the preconceptions of what you have. Coaches, your coach, the one that you play for, is the one that will say, okay, Sam, you're the shooting guard. And you might play on another team where it says, okay, Sam, well, now you're the point guard. So what do you do in that case? You have to have those skills ready to go. And the other thing is that being a versatile all-around player is going to make you more valuable, better at execution, and just a coach's dream if you are able to do all of these different things. If you're a post player that can step out and actually make a shot, or if you can step out and guard a guy on the perimeter, or if you can actually make your free throws and you can rebound, you can do all these things, or if you're a point guard and you can get into the post and you can post up a guy, if you can get in there and rebound, I mean, if you can do everything, then you are in a much better spot. You will find yourself on more teams, and you will advance up through basketball much faster and readily than you would if you just say, I'm a shooting guard. That's all I work on. I just work on being a shooting guard. And if you're a basketball player.
And if you're a shooting guard and there's a depth chart and you're number 3 or number 4, what about that position where there maybe only are 2 people and you can't play that because you spent all this time just trying to be this person? What you want to really do, like Casey's saying, is let's be a basketball player first.
Yep.
And that's for every position.
Do everything, because if you can do everything, it's going to be hard for other teams to stop you. And if you can't do everything, they will expose those weaknesses, and you will find yourself in a very uncomfortable position.
Right.
So be an all-around basketball player. Erase these positions. Your coach applies those. Let's see here. I saw one that I wanted to get to, but I can't find it now. Well, Benjamin Kelly is from Spirit Lake, Iowa.
Right.
And Den V Star is from Moscow, and I think you're here all the time.
Wow.
Cool. Okay, 56-7 Jut says, if you don't make the NBA or D League, do you give up on basketball? And then I saw one up here that was asking something about, would you say making the Euro Leagues as making it? Okay. These... You have to understand that those are top levels of basketball.
Sure.
There is only a few thousand people that have ever even played in the NBA, and the D League is the kind of the minor leagues of that. And there's only a few thousand people that have ever played in there. Those are the tip-top elite basketball players. And if you're doing it just to get to those places, just to say that you got there or something like that, or you think that's the end goal for every basketball player, I feel sorry for you, because that's just not the way it goes.
And there are other levels of basketball worldwide. There are different tiers of teams in Europe and Asia. where you can go, and maybe if you have enough skills and can't play in the NBA, maybe you could play on one of those levels or tiers. A young guy I know recently went to play in Israel, and he was a pretty good player, but not a great player. And he was able to get on a team and played for a whole season. And so there are levels where you can go. You may not find them just exactly where you want to be. And they have a lot of those tiers in the United States as well.
It's what you make of it too.
Yeah, sure.
I've seen people that I would say have made it that are only high school basketball players because they took what they learned in high school basketball and maybe applied that later in their life, or people that went to college. I mean, if you watch college basketball at all, you'll see these guys that are the superstars of NCAA basketball.
Sure.
They win national championships. They're the top players, and then they either never make it to the NBA, or they struggle and keep trying to make it in the D League, or they go overseas, or they just go away and they don't play anymore.
Yeah.
Are those people not making it? They have national championships, and I mean, it's not really something that I wouldn't even use those kind of words or standards to apply to that stuff.
Right.
And you have to, one of the things that people don't really realize is just how hard it is to get to those places.
Absolutely.
And it's not something to discourage you, but you have to be realistic. Even the best players don't always make it to the NBA.
Yeah, that's true.
But, I mean, and I'm not talking about just like best college players or whoever. I'm talking about the people that have the full package, whether that's athleticism or skills or whatever. Even those people don't always make it.
Well, one of the things that occurs to me is that there are guys who have great skills, but they're bad people. The pro teams are not going to take bad people.
Yep.
And so attitude is really one of the most important things that coaches at every level look at. What kind of a guy is this? In fact, I've heard college coaches talk about they went to watch so-and-so play, and he exhibited some really poor teamwork situations. When he went to the bench, he wouldn't slap hands with anybody. He went to the water cooler and sat down really like he was really pissed. Right away, they start marking guys like that off their list because they don't want the headaches of guys who are like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, we won't get into that, but like we know stories of people that this has happened to, and it's sad. And, a lot of times coaches will take a guy over another guy that may be better or more suited because they like the way that person plays, or they like that person's personality and heart and all that, or they're good leaders. And you'll see this a lot in college basketball where they'll have the walk-on guy that's been there 4 years and, he's never played a minute, but, he was a staple of the team. Yeah. And so, keep in mind, those are very important things, and they will help you advance too. Okay. That was a super tangent.
Yeah, it was a tangent.
Okay, let's lightning round this a little bit because we're running out of time. So that means short answers to these questions.
I'll try.
This one is from Caleb Hill, who says, I have my first AAU game today. Any tips? I am 165, 5'10", and I'm a forward. Thanks. I love your videos. Cool.
Just play hard.
Here's the thing, too. You can't expect to do any work to make yourself better for the game that's today.
Exactly. You need to have worked on it a long time before today, and play within yourself.
Yeah.
Sometimes players try to get to make themselves look better or bigger or whatever, and they kind of screw up. Just go out and play your game, and you'll find that you'll be more comfortable, you'll be more satisfied with it in the end, and maybe you get some serious looks for that.
Yeah, don't panic, relax, have fun, and I think that too many people get caught up in all the things that they really have no control of.
Yeah,
be in control of the things that you have control of.
Exactly right.
Okay, and play with a lot of effort and initiative and heart and all that stuff, and you'll do great.
One of the things I'll recommend to you before we pass off on that is go to our videos on YouTube and check out how to make the team.
Yep.
And you will find right there that probably will help you as much as anything that we could possibly say to you.
Okay, this one is from Murad Fadili, who says, what is the key to jumping higher? Go check out our vertical jump videos, and we go into super depth on that stuff. Okay, let's see. This one is from Rob McDonald, who says, "Hi, I'm 6'3", and my friends always make me play center, but I honestly feel like a bigger threat as a point guard. Have you ever dealt with being forced into a position you don't want to be in?" Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that it's difficult. I mean, you're talking about playing with your friends, so you should be able to have a little bit more kind of a sway on that one.
Sure.
And, when it comes to playing on a team, that's always really hard because your coach, like we said earlier, is going to really have an idea of where you should be playing on your position. And, that's tough too. And it's another reason to be a great versatile player is that'll make you kind of more of a, you can, I don't know. I just think that gives you kind of more options to play in a different spot if you have to.
Yeah.
Daryl Tho says, what if you've gotten taller and you always play point, but now that I'm taller, they want me to play big?
Once again, your coaches are calling the shots on most of that. And I would do whatever they want you to do. If they want you to take a win every 2 minutes, hey, take whatever you can get.
Yeah. Okay, so this one is from Esteban Pacheco, who says, "When is it a good time to try and take over a game?"
Never.
Yeah, chill out.
That kind of stuff is something that you find and hear on telecasts from guys that probably don't know that much about it. Taking over a game oftentimes is something that happens by chance, but usually a coach will direct, okay, listen, I want you, and here's one of the things that I look at. In basketball, there are shooters and there are scorers, okay? And if it comes down to the nitty-gritty, I'm not necessarily always going to look to the shooter because I know that the scorer has a history of getting to the basket or making the basket, whereas the other guy is kind of iffy. And so the thing that's really important there is just to remember that I lost my thought. Went away.
I don't know. I was looking at other questions, so I'm
okay. We got somebody there from Alabama.
Yeah, I was just going to hit some of those people. This is Tidarius Mason is from Foley, Alabama. Let's see. I thought I saw somebody else too, but they disappeared. Okay, this one is from. Gotta look closer.
Oil or Ole?
Oli, who says, "How do I get stronger when driving? I can never seem to create space in the lane."
Oh, okay. That's kind of a tougher question, and we're going to have a video on this before too long. One of the things that we like to teach our students is that when you drive to the basket, the defensive person is going to be there to body you up a little bit. And their job, they want to try and push you more toward the sideline. And your job is to take and use leverage against that to try and get yourself into a better position when you get to the basket. And that leverage oftentimes at the end can just be a little bump like this. And it's not something they typically call. And that creates a little space for you to get that shot off. But the thing that's really important there is just make sure you use your body. Most young players don't like body contact when they play, especially those who drive the basket. And what we want to do is we want you to be using what we call leverage. If I've got the ball and I'm going to the basket on Casey, I've got my body into Casey, and he's trying to body me back. And so we have this little leverage battle that's going on. And when we get there ready to shoot, I want to give him that little extra bump and kind of fade away so I can get that shot off of.
Yeah, and you have to really kind of get warmed up to the idea that contact is a part of basketball and that you're going to be into it, and it's something that you're going to use to your benefit against somebody else.
Right.
It's the people that don't want to get touched that I don't understand why you're playing basketball then.
Yeah. Well, a lot of players kind of get into a situation where they will push you away with the arm like this, and those are going to be calls against you.
Yeah.
But if you're using some subtle little bump like this, you're not going to get called for that.
Yeah, I mean, it's always the people that lose their cool or their technique is kind of lame. They get caught doing that stuff.
Yeah.
Contact is part of basketball, so you have to learn to do this stuff.
We've got greetings from
this one is from Aaron Kokadag, who says,
greetings from Amsterdam, coaches.
Yeah,
well, greetings
awesome.
back to you in Amsterdam.
Let's see. I'm going to take a couple more questions and we're out of here, you guys. Let's see here. Daryl. Oh, we already answered a couple from him. So let's see here. Chill Out Bra says, if you could pick one skill that an athlete needs to make the high school basketball team, what would it be? We're not going to pick one skill. Yeah. I think that you need, first of all, go check out our video on how to make the team.
Exactly. Right.
That is really what coaches are looking at and thinking about. Skills are important, but those things are very important as well.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, when it comes to skills, putting the ball in the basket is really the name of the game. So shooting is going to be probably our number one.
Yeah. And coaches love rebounders.
Here's what I think it is. Moving without the basketball.
Oh, yeah, huge.
Because you can be pretty crappy at layups. You can be moderately okay at shooting. But if you can't get yourself open or create opportunities, you might as well just take a seat. Yeah. So moving without the basketball is mine, I think. Okay. Let's see. Two more. Fact running at full speed in transition.
You practice how to do that. And usually when you're running full speed, you're pushing the dribble out in front of you much more, and it's usually a little taller. And if you never do that and you're forced into that, you're probably going to turn the ball over. So speed dribbling is really something that you should do on a regular basis. How much? No, not as much as if you're working on trying to get to the basket from, the three-point line.
Yeah, you got to push that ball out, catch up to it. If you're trying to dribble it on your side or behind you, you're gonna outpace it. You got to get it out there.
Away from it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and keep your hand on top of the ball. A lot of people, when they're doing those transition dribbles, they get their hand underneath and on the side. Yeah. Push it out on the top. Excuse me. Okay, there's a lot of people asking questions about what skills do we suggest for certain players or for certain blah, blah, blah. We don't suggest certain skills for anybody. We suggest a comprehensive set of skills for everybody.
For everybody.
Yeah. It doesn't matter if you're a point guard. It doesn't matter if you're 6'8" or 5'2", or a guy or a girl, or old or young or whatever. Be great at everything. Yeah. Because if you're not, that will be exploited. As a basketball player, you have to be good all around. Yep. It's not often that you can sneak by having crappy attributes on something. Yeah. You know, I mean, it doesn't go well. Like, you have to be like a Shaq type of player to get away with not being able to hit a free throw. Yeah. You know. Wow. Okay. Last question here is Adam Avatar, who says, "Do you have a shooting?" Well, don't go away though. We have a question for you guys. Adam Avatar, who says, "Do you have a shooting form recommended for a 5', 10" point guard like me with decent wingspan?"
Okay.
Shooting form.
Hold it. This is shooting form for a 5'10" P guard. Listen, we have the shooting form for every player that plays basketball, and it's all the same. It doesn't make any difference what position you play or how big you are. The shooting mechanics are the same. And if you go to our YouTube channel and look up our playlist on shooting, it's all right there, very clear. We know it works because we've been doing this for, 6 decades, a long time. And we know that it works really well.
You have, not me.
Yeah, me, and not Casey. But we know that it works, and we have hundreds and thousands of our students who are examples of that shooting stroke.
Yeah, one of the things to remember too is that you want to take these basic fundamentals that we show you guys and work on them yourselves. Yeah. Don't try to emulate somebody else.
Exactly.
Don't try to do it because you saw Kevin Durant do it or whoever. You are a different person. Your body mechanics are going to be different. Take these foundational elements and put them together for yourself, and then through repetition and just effort and work, it's going to be your shot that will work best for you.
Exactly. Now, there's one other question there, Casey.
Yeah, well,
right there.
Adam Avatar is also asking, where can I get a Shot Science shirt in all caps? We will be selling them soon on our website. Yeah. So just stay tuned, and we have a lot of cool things planned for you guys. And we would love to have all you guys wearing Shot Science shirts.
It would be very
because
cool.
It would make us very proud.
Very cool.
So stay tuned, and we will let you guys know where to find those. Yeah. Okay. And definitely let us know if you're into getting them, because we like to know. Oh, we have Sergey Kurtenko from the Ukraine.
All right.
Sorry we didn't get to your question, but we appreciate it. Okay, so if we didn't get to your guys' questions today, we are sorry. It's not because we don't like you. It's because we just ran out of time. Hit us up all throughout the week on all of our social media stuff. We're on Snapchat and Instagram and Facebook and all that, Twitter. We are Shot Science and everything. We do like to talk to you guys, so send us those questions on there. Or you can come back next time when we do our live show, 1 p.m. Pacific time on Sunday. And we have a question for today, which was, where are you guys from?
Yeah.
And we want to know. So send us those comments. Are you from Japan? Are you from Ukraine? Are you from wherever? We want to know.
And if you're from China, we want to know that for sure. If you're from China.
Yeah, and we like to have another follow-up question that we have for you guys. I like the one that we did last week. So let us know. Let's see. We'll do a slight variation this week. Tell us, what is one element of your shooting that you need to get better at? And what are you going to do to do it?
Yeah. That's a good one, Casey.
Yeah, we want to know what you guys are going to do. That's going to be key. So
Right.
what is something you could be better at on your shooting, and how are you going to get better at it?
Right.
Okay. So thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate it. We'll
you,
see you next
guys.
time. Follow us on Shot Science stuff.
All right. All right.
Shot Science out.